Good job. Good job. And hello,
It's
everybody.
distance.
Thank you so much, Matthew. So I guess I'll just say that, maybe you've already said something that I don't know, but we are here on behalf of the Dream Arc. And today we're going to come together to honor the more relevant than ever theme of unifying and the courage and the strength and the compassion and humility and patience and perseverance, as we just saw, that it can take, especially these days, to stay grounded in our hearts and connected to and embracing of all of our parts, shadows and all, and of course, to stay connected to each other and all of humanity. Now, if you're new to the Dream Arc, the unifying theme is reflected and embodied by a wonderful group of 17 animals in the Dream Arc Animal Codex, who we refer to as the family of unifiers. But in a way, the whole Dream Arc is actually about unity, right? One of the Dream Arc's most powerful gifts is its multifaceted way of helping us to move from an experienced state of disconnection to one of connection. And I say an experienced state of connection because the truth is, of course, that we are always deeply unified, whether we know it or not, whether we consciously experience it or not, and whether we're being told that this is the case or not. So unification, it's just the way of nature, right? In nature, it's holistic, it's inclusive, it's mutual, it's collaborative, it's fertile, it's immersive, it's interdependent. And we're not just connected with nature, we are nature. But for a long time, since we moved into a more sedentary lifestyle, and since monotheistic religions and philosophers like Descartes, and since modern times and capitalism emerged, so many of us have come to see and experience ourselves as separate from nature, right? We've been living in a world that's been largely governed by Western, reductionist, isolationist, transactional, conquering, compartmentalizing, sterilizing, extractive, and solitary thinking and doing. And in recent years, so many of us have been under what seems to be a continual amplifying barrage of fear-inducing, catastrophic, us in them kind of messaging. So it's really no wonder that we're feeling alone and disconnected and threatened without a deeper sense of purpose. Or why we've been, dealing with so much free-floating fear and anxiety and frustration and discontent, so much so that we've become particularly vulnerable to what could be seen as a mythical figure or a real spiritual entity that some Native American tribes, or more specifically the Algonquins, called Wetiko, which is essentially a collective psychosis or a contagious mind virus or a sickness in the spirit that can lead otherwise wonderful human beings to very extreme self-destructive levels of selfishness and greed and overconsumption, not to mention violence, that's brought about a cultural flood of othering. So we become especially vulnerable to Wetiko, as Paul Levy writes about in his books, when we've lost our ability to feel a deep connection to the natural world and to the nature in general, like to nature at its core. So Matthew and I thought that, while we're together, we could start by just contemplating and sharing with each other some of the ways in which we have not been feeling so unified, right? Like those areas in our lives where we felt separate from as opposed to connected to. And then we'll be turning to the Unifier's Oracle and calling in a unifying being for guidance and support. But first, for now, we would just love to invite everybody here to just start contemplating an area in your life where you've been feeling particularly disconnected, right? So it could be to yourself, to your body, to your spirit, to your joy, to your sadness and grief, right? It could be to your deeper passions, like your creativity or your imagination, your intuition, your dreams, your sense of purpose or meaning. Or you could be feeling disconnected from the natural world, from the animals, the plants, the minerals, the meadows, the rivers, and the mountains. Maybe you're on the screen all the time, on your phone all the time. Or you might be feeling a sense of isolation or separateness, like in relation to your relationships, right? So maybe you're feeling distant or dissonant with a friend or a life partner or a member of your family or your whole family or your neighbors or the people you're working with or a whole community or with all of humanity or maybe even your ancestors and those who are in the spirit world, right? Maybe you're feeling, I'm just going on with different possibilities to get everybody warmed up because we're going to ask you to share soon. But, maybe you're feeling deeply disconnected with the place that you live. And this could be for so many reasons, like whether it's just the energy of the place or the physical aesthetics of the place, the nature of the land, the weather, the seasons of the place, the people who live there, the lifestyle it requires to live there or to fit in. All of those could be reasons why you don't feel connected to where you are. Or maybe you don't even have a place to call home at this time. And you wouldn't be alone if you're feeling a sense of disconnection with the governing bodies of the place that you live. The values, the priorities, the policies that your leaders, whether they're local leaders or national leaders or global, systemic leaders, seem to represent at this time. And maybe you've never felt a sense of belonging. That's possible. Or maybe you used to have a really good sense of belonging to a place or a people or all of humanity, but something changed and now you don't. So I could go on, but you get the idea. So what we would love now is for you to just share with us in the comments, if you want to. Otherwise, just kind of percolate it on it for yourself. But whatever arose for you intuitively. So, like in this moment, where can you feel the greatest sense of disconnection, separation, or division in your life? Is there a place where you feel particularly vulnerable to a tico? And remember, there's no wrong answer. We just want a presence in the field. Some of the ways that we're experiencing the shadow of unity, and then we can be together around that. We can unify around that. So I don't know. Is anybody sharing anything, Matthew? What are you seeing? Oh, wait, Matthew, I don't hear you.
I was saying it's quiet right now, and so was I. Yeah, there's not much going on in the feed right now,
Okay.
and I can understand. It's like maybe wanting to sort of be with that in ourselves, but maybe as well we could name some of the things that maybe we've witnessed in others as well, because this is the unifiers we're working with too. So, I know for myself though, personally, I can share for my own person, is that it's like, yeah, sometimes I live out in a forest. I live in a rainforest, and I feel very connected to nature. And there's sometimes when it's like, and I connect to my tribe online, to you and to our Gene Keys community and to the Team 64. And then there's this yearning for this connection with more people in the area around me. And sometimes I can feel that sense of dislocation. And last night I was with my dog, I had a particularly busy day yesterday, and my dog seemed to be very much wanting that attention. And I could read that in her, that feeling of loneliness at times. And so really honoring that. And so, yeah, that's kind of what pops up for me. And we do have some other people starting to comment now. So, um, somebody else sharing here, the place I live in my home, in my relationship. So yeah, like even being in relationships, and we can feel dislocated and alone, even if we're in a marriage, in a partnership, and we can appreciate those partnerships and love those partnerships, and we could still honor that there might be something in there. And then we've got Maria here is saying, it cuts very deep. I'm deeply listening, sitting with grief and sadness in my heart. And that feels very big for our world. It's felt like there's this collective grief that we're being invited to feel deeply into at this time. And, it's so, yeah, we can so often want to respond to that grief or react to that grief and deal with it. And sometimes it's that need to just feel with it and be with it and give it the passage that it needs. So yeah, I'm hearing that for sure, Maria. Thank you.
Yeah, and I don't know if others relate to this, but my one of the places where I'm feeling lonely these days is in relation to just how polarized things have become and how difficult it is now to just sit together with someone and have different perspectives and different worldviews and just enjoy that kind of conversation where we can learn from each other. And I can't remember the name of the guy who said the quote that tyranny is the removal of nuance. And I think I have been feeling lonely in relation to the way that I live from a place of total nuance, which sometimes is paradoxical, confusing, but I can't just join. I just can't join a side. And sometimes that can feel very, very lonely. And I don't know if other people relate to that, but I thought I would share that.
Mhm.
Others that you wanna
Just another one sharing that, yeah, feeling disconnected in relationship. So I think that's, yeah, that's I'm sure that's something. And for possibly the reasons that you were just sharing there, Rosie, in the sense that, there is so much going on in the world and we can have these differing perspectives, and to be that person, that's just holding that space of wanting to understand the whole and not immediately jumping into sides and seeing the world situations right now and being, wow, if I put myself inside, and this is to me is the unifiers, if I put myself inside of that person and their lived experience, can I come to understand how they've made the choices they've made in their life, even if they seem wildly disparate to my own? So, yeah, and we do have some more comments coming through. Disconnected from everyone in my life except groups like this. And I feel like, yeah, I can feel the grief in that. I can feel that as something in my own life journey. I mean, some of us are going to be meeting up in London, and I connect so deeply with this community, and there's such an anticipation for that and that connection there, and that trusting and meeting others in the world here. Sarah's saying, feeling very disconnected from 9 siblings for the first time in my life. They misjudge my stance for truth. Truth is so triggering right now. Yeah. And not to mention, says Maria, it's the full moon energies in this moment. That's where, yeah, I think we're approaching the time of the full moon and feeling that. So yeah, we're feeling, yeah, this could be a very potent time to connect to our emotions, couldn't it? Whether it be sadness and grief, or whether it be joy and jubilation, right? It's always welcome here.
Yeah, thank you everybody who shared, and thank you everybody who's just taking these questions in and percolating on them for yourself. Yeah, it's very precious for us that you show up. And I'm thinking too, Matthew, do you want to
Mhm.
see what being comes to us, or was there something you wanted to say for?
No, no, I just, this was something that as I was journeying through the Dream Art course the first time, and when I stumbled upon the unifiers, there was Rosie does these riffs during each of them. And she did a Rosie's riff for the unifiers. And you brought so much of this to attention. And it's this like, I think of the calls for unity and I really appreciate those. And at the same time, we've seen in the past how dictators have used that for these calls to unity. And so this isn't kind of a unity that or a unification that we can impose upon the other, and can we feel connected to another even if they feel disconnected to us, but to actually go into the fears. There's this great fear that humanity is moving in the wrong direction, right? That's innate to some. The octopus is the unifier creature that stepped forward through the Gazelle magazine and newsletter, and it's kind of working with all of us, and it's like this fear of being lost in an uncaring and unforgiving world. And yet, can I trust that in that pain, you know, in the reactions of the world I'm seeing around me, in the pain inside of my own being, can I trust that there is something in there for my own evolutionary journey? And so the unifiers, this is a place of authentic unification that comes through the deep embrace of the darkest corners of our own psyche and that of humanity, which is on, you know, in the chaos of times and what's birthing and the difficulties that we're in right now, is that, this test for true unification it's such a deep calling. So the unifiers is one of the 12 categories within the dream arc where we meet these creatures that are here to support us. And so we thought we'd call forth one today. If you've done any of these lives with us before, you've seen we do this often. So now that we've all tapped into the grief and the loneliness and the sadness and some of those darker places for ourselves, with that real honesty and with that real kind of authenticity for ourselves, this is a powerful moment for us to be able to see, yeah, which of the dream art creatures might step forward and guide us through this and through the theme. So even if your theme was slightly different, if your experience of the division or the challenges is slightly different. Perhaps this creature, whatever its message is, might just speak to you in its own unique way. Because that's what I love about the dream arc is there's a message, and maybe one sentence really resonates deeply that takes you exactly where you need to go. So shall we do that, Rosie?
Yeah.
All for. So just place your hand on your heart. Just tune in. Let's call forth the unifier that is best going to support each and every person watching this, watching the replay, wherever you are in time and space, and that there's something in this for our own process of unifying at this time.
And may it also be for the collective.
Yeah. Well, I can tell you this one is. So this one, I love this creature. And yes, so I'll read the whole thing for everybody, shall I?
Yeah. You want us to keep our eyes closed and hand on our heart still?
You can
Stay in
receive the guidance and then just see if there's something in this message that really lands. And what I'll share is that this creature is the cormorant. And the cormorant is the bird, and it is the vision of fearless invincibility. And for those who work with the gene keys or wondering which key it's related to, it's the 9th gene key. And this is a beautiful one, and just in relation to all we've been really talking about, it's got themes of duality. So I am the cormorant. For eons, I have worked alongside humans, even sometimes catching your fish for you. I come to teach you how to master the world of duality. 2 faces I have, the air face and the ocean face. Many times you will see me by the ocean, my wings stretched wide as I let the sea breezes dry them. In my air face, I encourage you to make of your life a quest for love, a drama whose center is your heart. Your work then is every day to soften your heart, to open your wings, and to meet all circumstances with a soft smile of acceptance. In my ocean face, I am the diver, wings tucked tight around my body. I am a missile projected intensely at my prey. Thus do I have 2 natural elements, air and water. In my ocean face, I encourage you to seek with your mind the treasures and dreams you hold within, and never to give up on bringing them out of the depths to the surface of your life. Thus I teach you always 2 paths, and 2 paths you must take in life, and you must live in a way that they will be resolved. Always you will find you are drawn to the power of these 2, the way of the mind and the way of the heart. Rare are human beings who can encompass 2 paths at the same time. Your life will thus be a point of paradox, 2 destinies, 2 directions, 2 of everything. The power I offer you then is the power of unifying the opposites, of chasing both ways and using them as a means of your own transcendence. Spend time by water and spend time high in the air, in places where the breezes can lift your spirit. You are one of the fearless, but you must go into the source of the fear before the goddess will free you from it. Take courage and know that your spirit is invincible. Whenever you choose both paths, the path of love and the path of deep focus. The cormorant. I don't know if you have your cards near you, do you?
I do not.
So,
I should.
yeah, we'll post a picture. If you don't know what a cormorant looks like, it's a bird it's a pretty big bird that you often see by the ocean. It's black and yellow beak, I think. Anyway, that's the cormorant. And I kind of love that message. And I could see how that might resonate for the collective at this time as well, Rosie.
Yes. I was reminded of that. There's a meditation that Richard does, which is like it's like open mind, soft heart. Is that what it is? You over and over again, you're just opening your mind, softening your heart, and you're opening your mind even more, and you're softening your heart. So it was also it's a very powerful image to imagine the cormorant when it's going into the ocean, like a rocket. Or what did he say? Like a missile or something, like going after the dream. and going into the shadow in order to really bring the deeper dream up into the surface. And I think the dream that we're all holding has to do with unity.
The degree of unity requires us going, what you've been sharing, going into the depths.
Right into the depths. And then also what you were saying earlier, Matthew, I really appreciated about unity, including the shadow, and unity also being one that celebrates difference and one that celebrates the multiplicity of one that we are as humanity. And I feel in a way that the cormorant really stands for that as well. We can't really become a whole unless each of us is being true to our innate dreams, the dreams that our whole body, our whole genetics, our whole conditioning, and our whole spiritual, journey has designed us for.
Absolutely.
So,
Yeah. And it's like taking this bird and this message and the gene key that it's associated always makes me think of Martin Luther King's message too about you don't need to, you might not see how we're going to get there, right? We know where we're going, the vision of where we want to go, of unity, and all we need to know is what the next step is, right? And very often that next step is, what's the suffering that's here in this moment that I'm being called to bring attention to? Yeah. And maybe it'll express through creativity. Maybe you'll put that into your art or something like that. But yeah, I know we've got some invitations for people as well too.
Oh yes, we have an invitation. So we're going to kind of move to a slightly different thing, but let's keep the cormorant in our minds and hearts as an additional support for this little journey. But the journey is going to involve other animals. Okay, so this is a little experiment we want to invite everyone to do, and you can do it right now here with us, or you can take it just into your day, into your week, and see whatever emerges. There's no rush. It's just an invitation. And the invitation, and let's just start with the first part, has two parts, is to take a moment or set a little time aside in your schedule to ask yourself, if you were an animal, or if there were an animal that came closest to your essence, what would it be? So if you're doing this with us right now, you might want to close your eyes, take a deep breath, and most of all, just give yourself permission to trust whatever comes, right? Even if it doesn't make logical sense to you right now. The dream arc is all about trusting our intuition and our instincts in the now. And we're not asking you to get married to this animal. You can relate to another animal in another time. You're just recognizing one creature as a reflection of you at this time. And if you're going to do this later, just feel free to jot down the question so you can return to it later. And if an animal did come to you and you would like to share it with us, just feel free to write it down in the comments.
Yes, absolutely.
Did anything come to you, Matthew?
Bear popped straight into my head. Yeah. And actually, Richard described me that as a few weeks ago. And it's like, okay, I've been working with Bear. I guess I've been working quite deeply with Bear. There is the swan. Yeah. Yes. That graceful swan. Yeah.
Wonderful. So should I give another few seconds in case anyone else wants to share? Or do we just kind of move on and let people do this? Because people will be watching this also after.
Yeah, and we'll see we'll be able to check in some of the comments, and I wanted to make note as well that I can put the link to the video of the meditation that you mentioned. Maria's mentioned the earthworm, and it's funny because I just came off a call with a group of people, and the earthworm was showing up quite a bit in that conversation too. So yeah, paying attention to these creatures. So the earthworm, hey?
Yeah, go ahead.
Faultier is the German word, but I can't remember the English word for the animal.
What kind of?
Yeah,
is it like a bird?
We'll see. Maybe somebody else is able to. Oh, okay. The animal who hangs around on the tree with a small flat smile on his face, really slow in his movements. That's the sloth. Thank you for that description. Yes, we got there. The sloth. And then I think it's Sabine here has the deer. Yeah. It's so funny. The other day, actually, I was working with somebody on their gene keys, but before I'd taken my dog out for a walk and there was a deer crossing my path. And then it turns out this was this person's life's work as well. So it is neat when the animals show up as like, hey, you're about to meet this person here. And so,
I think someone mentioned cat too, but I'm not able to see that they're moving so fast. So
yeah, I need to put your thumb on it. You should be able to scroll back up. But yeah,
oh,
uh, astrocyclus. Yeah.
there we go. Okay. Well, I'm going to keep going because there's part two. I'm going to go to part two now. Thank you for everyone who's sharing and responding. Okay, so now we would like you to think of a person with whom you're having a hard time feeling a positive connection to at this time in your life. So this could be, family member, friend, colleague, a political leader, spiritual teacher. It could be anybody. Just trust who comes up and try not to overthink it. Whose humanity are you having some trouble seeing, feeling connected to right now? In whose presence is it hard for you to experience empathy or an open heart? And right now, we're not going to ask you to figure out why you feel the way that you do about this person. There's no need for an explanation or justification, right? All that matters is that you just find someone with whom you're currently feeling disconnected. Great. And now I'm just going to keep on going, keep percolating, everybody. And again, if you're doing this with us now, just breathe and ask yourself this question. If this person were an animal, or if there were an animal that captures the essence of this person, what would that animal be? And again, if you're doing it later, just write down the question for yourself so you can return to it later. And, as always, just trust what comes, even if it doesn't make sense. We really want you to go with your gut here. And if an animal came up for you, feel free to write it down so we can see it.
Dragons
Anything?
fade away.
Okay.
Dragons fade away. Yeah. Some of us have been working with the dragon for a little while. So yeah, that's a powerful one for sure.
That's a big one. How about you, Matthew? I see an armadillo.
Oh,
Worm.
wow. Armadillo. There's the worm again.
Yeah.
The worm turn. For me, it was skunk immediately. I didn't even, I could question why I have no direct connection to that person, but I think this is the nature of this work and the intuition. It's just trust that those imaginations. And so I'm going to take a peek at the skunk later because I've never connected it with this person in that way.
Very good.
Sarah's the coyote for Sarah, the trickster. Yeah, that person sounds like a bit of a trickster to me.
Yeah.
The wolves. Yeah.
The wolf in sheep's clothing.
Rattlesnake coming through. William skunk, definitely. Yeah.
I think I've got a scorpion. I'm thinking of a scorpion.
You got a scorpion, eh? We have a stinger. Stinger.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a good exercise as well. It was easier the first one and connecting with ourselves, but definitely it's as well. And we have done this activity, you and I, before, but it was nice to do it again.
Did we do this? Did we do exactly this?
We haven't done it on a live. I think we did it in a conversation together, something similar. Yeah.
We did.
Yeah, it wasn't some.
Okay. Well, now comes the bigger invitation, which is for everyone just to spend some time intuitively contemplating a relationship between these animals, right? So maybe in real life, these two animals live in completely different regions or habitats or dimensions, right? If it's a dragon, different dimensions, and might never encounter each other. Or maybe they're each other's predator or prey, or maybe they have a parasitic relationship. Maybe they're actually really friendly with each other in the natural world. Maybe one's very out there and the other one is very, hidden and introverted. Right? Maybe one is hyper and the other one is very quiet. So whatever arises in your mind, and especially in your imagination, pictures shed light on the relationship that you have with this other human being, both the shadows and the potentials, and let these animals help you see your relationship in a new light. So, this contemplation, it can take some time. You might dream about it. You might have an insight that just pops up all of a sudden when you're shopping for groceries or talking with a friend. So there's really no pressure to share anything here right now. We would love for you to report back to us. We'd love to hear what you learn. And of course, if any of you are already having little breakthrough insights and you want to share with us now, totally do.
Sarah's saying, wow, this is so revealing. So we've got that straight away. So this is already revealing something to somebody, some people.
Good.
Yeah. Yeah. You weren't expecting that when you came on here today, were you, folks? That suddenly that person I have difficulties with is now an animal.
I'm thinking about the skunk and the bear for you.
I know. I'm playing with those two together. They could encounter each other in the forest for sure. And I imagine that suddenly I'm thinking of that cartoon, what was the old cartoon of the skunk? I can't remember. All right. Yeah, we've got some others saying just loving this, thank you. So people appreciating the exercise. Yeah, I feel it's a really valuable activity. We'll definitely. And Maria's saying armadillos eat earthworms. Very interesting. So yeah, we get to, if you are the earthworm, then you get to be the nutrition for the armadillo. If they're the armadillo, it's like, how is that? Yeah. Yeah. I had an image of a coyote stalking the swan, reflecting peacefully on the water. She is very aware of the coyote's every move. Yes. Beautiful. Yeah. Really good. Yeah, it's a really good activity too. Yeah. These are just the kind of like, we're just giving tasters of the kind of the things that are inside of the dream arc, because often I'm becoming Rosy's spokesperson on this, but she's filled the dream arc up with so many beautiful invitations like this that lead to synchronicities and interesting depths of revelations and realizations that really make the dream arc something special to explore, and in each of the different categories. So here we have the unifiers, and so yeah, straight away we're looking at how do these creatures come together? How do they unify? Is it through eating? Is it through what kind of a connection do they have? Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for that, Rosie.
Yeah, thank you. So what do you say? It's up to you for us to a close. Bring it home, Matthew.
Bring it home. Well, I'm bringing in the gene keys for just a moment here. And not a specific gene key. If you want to look at it, it's in the 28th gene key, which moves from purposelessness to immortality. And it's the gift of totality, which is, related to this theme of duality in a way too. It's like embracing the pleasure and the pain of life. But sometimes you go back into this Gene Keys book and it's like, oh, wait a minute, I don't remember reading this before. Well, that's where I was journeying through with this a few weeks ago, and I found this about animals here and our connection to animals, and I just thought I'd share it here as a kind of final reflection and thought. So this city contains the seed of manifestation of immortality in form. Oh wait, that's not the quote. Ha! Know what? Okay.
You'll get it.
Here we go. Go. Wrong paragraph. Okay. All right. Buzzing. It's disappeared. Wow. Okay. I'm gonna have to go.
Are you sure you don't want to go a little longer?
Well, if you've got something to share while I'm looking, I had it marked on I have it marked on my Kindle version, and it was at the end of this chapter. But oh no, it is here. Yeah. Okay. Here we go. Thank you for your patience. The 28th city will finally come in this vehicle, the future vehicle, the new human that Richard speaks of often. The 28th city will finally come to fruition. In doing so, it will synthesize the animal soul of Gaia with the human soul, thus making king and immortal body. Herein lies the secret behind all the codes within our mythologies, where man and beast are combined as one. The animal kingdoms of our planet constitute an awareness that already operates in the immortal field, and whose sacrifice suggests an evolution even higher than our own. At a physical level, man must absorb his entire animal nature into himself in order for its true purpose to be shown. Only then will we see for the first time the true nature of the beast. And I just love that. And I feel that ties into what we've just been doing here today. It relates to this idea of these creatures that have come to our mind, or maybe the ones that have come to our mind right now. That's the very nature we're looking to recognize within our own being so that we can really step into this field of immortality. So that was just a little gem from In the Gene Keys book that I felt called to share to bring us to a close here.
Perfect.
And so, yeah, thank you, Rosy. Thank you for that beautiful exercise. Thank you for everyone who showed up here and played along with us. Thank you to the cormorant, who is our guide. If you missed that when we called on the cormorant earlier, this replay will be up in a few moments. You can watch that. And that vision of invincibility, that, that true invincibility that comes from knowing that really there's nothing to defend ourselves against, right? At this deep level of knowing. And coming into unity, this dream of unity that we have that is inviting us to embrace the shadows and to dive deep into that. And the cormorant, I see the question there, is related to the ninth gene key, which is the city of invincibility. So the ninth gene key, for those of you who like and appreciate the gene keys. So that's all from us here today. Thank you so much. If you're somebody who's new to the Dream Arc, hopefully this was a fun little taster for you. If you have no idea what we're talking about, hopefully we didn't scare you off. Hopefully you'll feel a call to come back. We do these monthly. We also have our Gazelle newsletter. You can find those in our Dream Arc bio above. We have monthly calls on Clubhouse as well, twice monthly calls on Clubhouse where you can come gather and experience the magic of this. And of course, our course, the Dream Arc course, is available through the website, and you can join that at any time as a self-study course. From time to time, we offer retreats. At this moment, there's nothing going on. I've got already, I think it's Alana here saying, very fun, new to your world. Thank you. So you're new to our world. Thank you. And welcome. Welcome. Thank you for introducing yourself and saying hello. Yeah, this can be fun. This can be playful. It's deep play. It takes us into some tender spaces at times, but that vision of unity, the cormorant, it's going to take us there. And thank you, Rosy. Thank you, all of you. Yeah, I think we're good today. Hey, Rosy.
We're good. Thank you, Matt. Beautiful. Beautiful. All right. Bye, everybody. See you in a month if you're